Addressing behavioral issues in the classroom has challenged educators for decades. For years, the instinct was suspend, expel, and in extreme cases, arrest. But now many schools in Connecticut are taking a restorative approach to reduce harm and correct behavior while keeping kids in school. The focus of a teacher's job is to educate, but they're also the eyes and ears in the classroom, sounding the alarm when something's not quite right. And when a student's action disrupts learning, the protocol used to be remove them from the room. But new research shows that's not the solution.
When you take an overly punitive approach through suspension, expulsion, or even arrest of some kids for school-based offenses, you lose that connections and kind of the identification of what's the underlying issue.
Dr. Gina Bracey is an associate vice president at Connecticut's Child Health and Development Institute. Her team partners with schools across the state to train teachers and counselors on how to best respond and manage behavioral issues to keep students in the school system and not the juvenile justice system.
There's often something else going on, right? So the acting out, it might be the symptom or kind of the outcome of something else that's happening. And so it's really kind of understanding what is that child going through, what have they experienced.
Fighting the knee-jerk reaction of suspend and expel, and instead choose conversations and correction.
We've seen some great growth in the past few years.
Watertown is one of 26 Connecticut districts participating in the School-Based Diversion Initiative program.
We were already experiencing as a school district some elevated numbers in our suspensions and expulsions. And then parallel to that, we were coming off the heels of COVID, and we were seeing some alarming behaviors that we hadn't seen before.
And the uptick in disruptive behavior after the pandemic was experienced beyond Watertown. The Department of Education reports a statewide jump in suspension rates from 4.9% in 2019 to 7% 4 years later. And while exclusionary discipline still happens in severe cases like those involving weapons, Superintendent Dr. Allison Villanueva says minor classroom disruptions are now addressed at school.
It's better if they're actually in our care, receiving counseling, receiving behavioral mental health support services, and being with somebody that they trust as a trusted adult to be able to talk about things.
She says the added resources free of charge to her district have helped create a network of support for students and staff, something she hopes to continue and build upon in the years ahead.
We really fortified our counseling team as well as just how our teachers interact with our students. And that's how really SPI has made a difference for us.
Previously, the focus has been on middle and high schools, which receive performance-based incentives for achieving their goals. But this year, a pilot program for elementary schools rolled out to correct behavioral issues early. It's being tested in 3 schools across Watertown and New Britain, and if proven to be effective, will expand to more schools throughout the state. And we should note the Child Health and Development Institute says participating schools have seen a nearly 30% drop in court referrals since implementing the tools of this program.